Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolutely wild Indonesian legend. It's a story that actually transforms the dramatic, rocky landscape of the Pocokuwus region into a deeply tragic tale of family betrayal. We're talking about a myth passed down through generations in Manggarai, where the local geography is basically a permanent, towering reminder of human frailty.
So how exactly does a brother's betrayal literally turn into a mountain? Well, let's reverse engineer this bizarre natural phenomenon. Normally when we look at mountains or giant rock formations, we think of tectonic plates and erosion, right? But here in Manggarai, locals look at these towering peaks and giant stones and see a family completely torn apart by forbidden desire. We're going to explore how one guy's unforgivable actions physically reshaped the earth.
Section 1. The stone with a face. Let's get right into it.
We're starting our journey right in the present-day landscape. Look at this massive, incredibly weird geological formation. If you catch it from the right angle, this giant rock, known as Wadu Umpu, looks exactly like a human face. I mean, we're talking eyes, a nose, a mouth, and even what looks like a beard. But here's the eerie part. This stone face is locked in a stare, gazing with deep, silent regret straight across the landscape at the distant Mount Pocokuwus. It's honestly as if the stone itself is mourning.
Section 2. A peaceful brotherhood.
So, to understand how these massive landmarks actually got here, we've got to travel way back in time. Long before there were mountains, there was just a simple house, shared by two brothers who were, well, polar opposites. The elder brother was hardworking and firm, out in the fields from dawn till dusk, and the younger brother? Super eloquent, highly sociable, but basically a total homebody who much preferred hanging around the house over doing any manual labor. It's a classic failure to launch dynamic, setting up two totally different guys living under the exact same roof.
Also living with them was the elder brother's wife. Now, she was defined not just by her exceptional beauty and grace, but by her incredible patience and loyalty. She was fiercely protective of her family's dignity, and honestly, knowing her character makes the events that are about to unfold just so much more devastating.
Moving on to Section 3. The ultimate betrayal. Sticking these clashing personalities in such close quarters eventually, hit a breaking point. Taking full advantage of the quiet house while his older brother was busting his back in the fields, the younger brother grew dangerously bold. He started constantly flattering his sister-in-law, hitting her with lines like, "My sister-in-law, why do you look so beautiful every day?" She tried her absolute best to keep her patience and just brush off these wildly inappropriate advances, but the guy just stubbornly refused to take a hint.
As you might guess, her patience eventually, and totally understandably, ran out. She wasn't about to compromise her dignity or her marriage. The absolute second her husband walked through the door after a long day in the fields, she bravely laid it all out. She didn't hide a single detail, which, as you can imagine, sparked a massive, immediate confrontation.
The elder brother was absolutely furious. When confronted, the younger brother just lowered his head. He couldn't deny it. Exploding with rage, the elder brother banished him with a booming, thunderous decree. He didn't just kick him out, he ordered him to walk as far away as humanly possible and never, ever return to their village or their home.
Which brings us to Section 4, the endless exile.
Filled with immense guilt, and knowing he couldn't fight his brother's righteous anger, the younger brother just accepted his punishment and started an aimless, grueling journey. And here's where it gets fascinating. His tragic exile maps directly across the actual geography of the region today. Step by exhausted step, he pushed through Lasong village, then Ronggu village, and finally all the way to Walik village, distancing himself from the only life he'd ever known.
Interestingly enough, the legend ties specific geologic quirks right to his journey. At his very first stop in Lasong village, he paused to, relieve himself. According to the myth, this totally mundane act magically transformed the ground into a deep, ever-flowing swamp fed by a natural spring that literally still exists today. It's like the landscape itself was already reacting to his cursed presence.
From both Lasong and Ronggu villages, the younger brother, maybe desperately hoping for a little forgiveness, would turn back and shout across the distance, asking if he'd gone far enough. But nope. He was met only with his older brother's unrelenting, booming voice echoing across the valleys, "No, not far enough. I can still see you." He literally had to keep walking until he was entirely out of sight.
He finally dragged himself to Welak village, which was safely hidden behind these high hills. Exhausted, he stumbled upon a tiny hut where two local guards were performing tukong. That's a traditional practice of guarding crops from wild animals overnight. Using that classic eloquence of his, he begged the reluctant guards to let him take over their night watch, just so he could finally get a moment to rest.
Section 5. A supernatural transformation.
So that night, alone in the little hut, the younger brother falls asleep, but the next morning, when the guards return, he's gone. Instead of the guy they left behind, they found this terrifyingly massive stone just completely crushing their fields. And even crazier, all their harvest-ready crops were inexplicably resting right on top of this enormous rock. The brother had vanished into thin air, leaving only this gigantic monument of stone.
The villagers realized almost immediately that this was a supernatural punishment. The younger brother had quite literally been petrified into that giant stone, Watu Umpu. And the elder brother? His massive, unyielding anger had transformed him into the imposing Mount Pocokuwus. The two brothers had literally become the landscape. They externalized all their immense family guilt and rage directly into the physical geography. To permanently seal this tragic fate, a small mountain rose right up between them as an eternal natural barrier. The elder brother's angry command that they never see each other again was fulfilled by the earth itself. But here's the kicker. Because Watu Umpu's stone face is positioned on its side, it forever gazes toward Mount Pocokuwus, trapped in this eternity of regret for the family he completely destroyed.
Finally, Section 6. The myth's moral legacy.
You see, this dramatic myth was never just some spooky campfire story. It was an essential, towering warning used by the community to encode their social rules right into the landscape. It's a really stark reminder that upholding morality, respecting family boundaries, and fiercely controlling our darker desires are absolutely non-negotiable. It proves that violating these values doesn't just cause temporary pain, it leaves scars as immovable as a mountain and as heavy as a giant stone.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you thinking about the sorrowful, petrified face of Watu Umpu. The younger brother tried to physically walk away from his sins, but the earth itself held him accountable. It really makes you wonder, if your deepest guilt suddenly took physical form, would you be able to outrun it? Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the legends of Mangarai.